What interests us about dinosaurs? Is it their immense size and diversity? Is it the fact that someone can dig something up that died millions of years ago and recreate it in their own mind? Or is it simply the thought of a 40-foot long, 20-foot tall, giant super predator running at you with gnashing jaws? Well, today we're interested in the latter of that. Today we're talking about one of the most popular dinosaurs of all time, Tyrannosaurus rex. Oh, and this is not Tyrannosaurus rex. T-Rex has been painted in popular media as a ruthless killing machine, from chasing down Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park to fighting giant gorillas in King Kong. In reality, T-Rex was no different than any other predator today. Well, besides the fact that it walked on two legs and weighed over 30 tons and could probably bite a car in half, it was no different than a lion or a bear per se. T-Rex wasn't this horrid monstrosity that movies paint it to be. But then what was it really, teeth, tail, and all? Well, that's what we're trying to find out today. What was it like to be right alongside a Tyrannosaurus rex, or maybe even hunted by one? But before we do that, we gotta look at some facts. In movies, T-Rex is portrayed as having hard, scaly skin, and while it did have a pretty thick hide, recent discoveries, and it being related to birds of course, have led paleontologists to believe it had some feathering to go along with it. And while it probably wasn't this giant poofed up chicken of sorts, it definitely had a good amount of feathering when it was younger, and as it got older, the feathering probably went away, and maybe when it was elderly, the feathering would just disappeared entirely. Once again, contrary to popular belief, Tyrannosaurus' eyesight was not based on movement as shown in Jurassic Park. In fact, it actually had amazing eyesight, binocular vision even, similar to that to a hawk or an eagle. It could see its prey from miles away. Its sense of smell and hearing were also greatly keen. It could probably smell or hear something from even farther away than it could probably see it. Also, recent discoveries have led paleontologists to believe that T-Rex might have been able to feel vibrations in the ground from other animals walking around, similar to how elephants do nowadays. You may have heard me say before that T-Rex could probably bite a car in half, and this is not a joke. Tyrannosaurus had the strongest bite of any animal ever to walk the earth. Its bite yielded from 35 to 57,000 newtons of force. That is 10 times greater than a crocodile's. Also, its giant head and jaws were the reason for its other defining feature, its tiny little arms. It evolved to have small arms because all dinosaurs on two legs need a counterbalance. They usually use their tail for that, but because T-Rex's giant head, it evolved to have smaller arms. If it had big arms, like its cousin Allosaurus, then it'd probably fall flat on its face, taking one step forward. T-Rex didn't really roar per se. They weren't even sure if it had a sound box to even make actual sound, but they do know it made sort of guttural noises, kind of like how alligators do, low rumbles and growls. And they also know that it was capable of something called closed mouth vocalization, something that modern-day birds can do, where they close their mouth and let out low vibrations. And you can barely hear them, but you can definitely feel them in your bones, shaking your inside. So, T-Rex, if it ever was to approach you, you would actually feel its presence before you would actually hear it. And I think that's even more terrifying than a giant roar. Whew, so now that we got the facts about T-Rex out the way, let's set the scene. Hell's Creek, Montana, 65 million years ago, about 250 years before the KG extinction event that wiped out most of life on Earth. But you're probably wondering, what did it look like back then? Was it all jungle and swamp? Well, not really, but it did look a lot different than today. There weren't trees like this, and there wasn't even grass that evolved yet. It probably looked something more similar to this. Dry, clay environment, no grass, just ferns and conifers dominating the area. Tyrannosaurus would probably stalk around the tree line waiting for the perfect moment to strike. So, we got our habitat, we have a true recreation of the Tyrant King itself. So, let's meet a Tyrannosaurus Rex.